The rain hasn't stopped for 3 days. It's the kind of rain that seeps into the walls, into your bones, making everything feel damp and heavy. The city outside my window is just a blur of bleeding neon and watery reflections. A purple glow from the sign across the street paints shifting patterns on my ceiling, a silent, restless dance. I've been sitting here for hours just listening to the rhythmic tap-tap against the glass. It's a lonely sound, but it's better than the silence. The silence is where my thoughts get too loud. That phone call, it replays in my head, a broken loop of static and a voice that felt both alien and familiar. It left a strange hum in the air, an electric tension that still hasn't faded. I keep telling myself it was just a wrong number, a glitch in the network. But a part of me, the part that wakes up in the middle of the night with a jolt, knows it was something else. It felt intentional, like a hook cast into the dark, and I was the one who bit. The city is supposed to be loud, a constant symphony of sirens, traffic, and a million overlapping lives. But from up here, in this small apartment, it's all muffled. The sounds are distant, filtered through the rain and the thick, old glass. It's like watching a movie with the volume turned down low. I'm just an observer, separate from the world below. Or at least I was. Now, I feel like something is observing me. A subtle shift in the shadows, a flicker in my peripheral vision. I keep turning, expecting to see someone, something. But there's never anything there, just me in the damp, quiet rooms. It's funny how your own home can start to feel like a cage. The familiar comfort of these four walls has evaporated, replaced by a creeping sense of unease. Every creak of the floorboards, every groan of the old building settling, sounds like a footstep. I check the locks again. They're bolted. But the feeling of being watched doesn't come from outside. It's coming from within. It's a strange kind of fear, not the heart-pounding panic of a clear and present danger, but a slow, cold dread that wraps around you. A premonition that the world you know is about to crack wide open. And then it happened. A sudden flash. A crackle of ancient electronics running back to life. The old television in the corner, a relic I haven't plugged in for years, flickered on by itself. Its dusty, curved screen glowed with a sick, gray light, filling the dark apartment with a throbbing pulse. There was no sound at first, just the light, a silent beacon in the gloom. My heart hammered against my ribs. It's impossible. It's not even connected to a power source. I stared at it, frozen, as the screen began to swim with static. A chaotic dance of black and white pixels, a snowstorm of digital noise. Slowly, as if pulled by an invisible string, I got up and walked towards it. The air around the TV was cold, unnaturally so. The closer I got, the more the static seemed to resolve. It wasn't just random noise. There were shapes in it, glimpses of something coherent hidden within the chaos. My own reflection stared back at me from the dark glass, but it was warped, twisted. The purple neon from the window smeared across my face like a scar. Behind my distorted image, the static churned. Then a sound began to bleed through the hiss. A whisper, faint at first, like wind through a keyhole. It was a voice, fragmented and low. I leaned in closer, straining to hear, my breath fogging the screen. The whispering grew clearer, weaving in and out of the static. It was speaking names. Names I didn't recognize. Names that sounded ancient, forgotten. And the imagery on the screen shifted. For a split second, the static cleared, and I saw a street. It looked like my street, the one right outside my window, but it was wrong. The buildings were the same, but they were empty, derelict. The neon signs were dark. There were no cars, no people. Just an unnerving, profound emptiness under a sky the color of ash. The image vanished as quickly as it appeared, swallowed again by the roaring static. But the whispers continued, growing more insistent. And then I heard it. A single word spoken clearly amidst the noise that made the blood freeze in my veins. My name. It was my voice, but it wasn't me speaking. It was a cold, detached echo of myself, calling out from that impossible, static-filled world. I stumbled back, a gasp catching in my throat. This wasn't a glitch. This wasn't a prank. This was something else entirely. The room began to feel wrong. The very fabric of my reality started to fray at the edges. I looked around wildly. The neon lights outside my window, which had been pulsing gently, now began to throb with a frantic, violent energy. The purple glow flared and dimmed in time with a roaring static from the television, as if the city itself was having a seizure. I felt a surge of energy, a low-frequency hum that vibrated through the floor, up my legs, and into my teeth. It was the same hum from the phone call, but 1,000 times stronger. My gaze was drawn to the walls. The shadows, once still and lifeless, were now moving. They stretched and warped, detaching from the objects that cast them. My own shadow on the wall behind me seemed to have a life of its own, its limbs elongating into impossible shapes, its head turning to look at me, even as I stood perfectly still. Panic set in, a primal, suffocating fear. I wanted to scream, to run, but my feet felt like they were nailed to the floor. I was trapped, a spectator in my own waking nightmare. My eyes snapped back to the television screen. My reflection was still there, but it wasn't just a reflection anymore. It was watching me. And as I stared, paralyzed, its lips curled into a slow, knowing smile. A smile that I wasn't making. It was a chilling, predatory grin, full of secrets I couldn't possibly comprehend. It knew, whatever this thing was, whatever was happening, my reflection was a part of it. It smiled back at me from the other side of the glass, a gatekeeper to the madness that was unfolding. And then, just as suddenly as it all began, everything stopped. The roaring static cut out. The whispering voice vanished. The surging lights outside returned to their gentle pulse. The shadows on the wall snapped back into place, becoming inert and ordinary once more. The room was plunged into an absolute, deafening silence. A silence so total, so profound, that it was more terrifying than the noise had been. My ears rang in the void. The only sound was the frantic, ragged beat of my own heart. The television screen went black. My reflection, my smiling other reflection, was gone. I stood there for what felt like an eternity, trembling in the quiet dark. Was it over? Was it just a hallucination? A stress-induced psychotic break? I had to know. My legs finally unlocked and I stumbled towards the window, my hands pressed against the cold, rain-streaked glass. I needed to see the real world, the solid, dependable city I knew. I needed to anchor myself back to reality. I looked down. The street below was just as it always was. Cars moved through the wet streets, their headlights cutting through the night. People hurried along under umbrellas. The world was normal. A wave of relief washed over me, so powerful it almost brought me to my knees. It was in my head. It was all in my head. But then I saw it. I looked across the street at the apartment building opposite mine. In one of its windows, a screen was glowing, a television. And on that screen, a familiar, chaotic dance of static. My eyes darted to the next building and the next. In every window, on every floor, as far as I could see, screens were coming to life. Televisions, computer monitors, phones held in unseen hands, and every single one of them was displaying the same thing. Not just random static, but a symbol, a strange geometric shape pulsing at the heart of the digital snowstorm. The same symbol that had been burning behind my reflection's eyes. The entire city was glowing with it. The whispers were gone, but the signal was everywhere. It wasn't in my head. It was in everything, and it was just getting started. Thank you for watching this episode of Shadow Circuit. If you felt that chill run down your spine, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more mysteries from the static. We're just beginning to peel back the layers of this reality, and you won't want to miss what we find next. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think is happening. Until next time, be careful what you watch. You never know who or what might be watching back.